to try things out in the new year. And so here's something new. Um, right now, I'm about to talk to someone who I am extremely proud of. And I'm so grateful to be able to call my friend. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I've been posting about this movie called Ricky. And I've been posting about my dear friend, one of the producers of that film, Pierre M. Coleman. And the M is for shmoney. No, I'm just kidding. But the Pierre is a colleague of mine from the Howard University. Okay, we met in, was it a classical mythology class?
Classical mythology.
Right, crazy. There's a story about that class too. I could tell, but whatever. Y'all probably not here for all that, but hopefully that you're here. And I think that this is working right now. I'm not even sure, but hopefully you're here to for this conversation about Ricky, which is a phenomenal movie. I had the pleasure to see the movie premiere and feature length status at the Sundance Film Festival last year, and Pierre and his cohorts just made an announcement that the movie is going to be in select theaters coming this spring. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome my friend Pierre M. Coleman.
Thank you.
We don't have a studio audience, but that's okay because I'm a clap for you.
Thank
Um,
you for
so
having me.
again, I'm not really sure if I have all the tech figured out for this. Like we figuring stuff out as we go along.
Listen, you know you know how we go from back in the day from the equipment we had to work with in undergrad. You know, we always figure it out. It's all good.
Yes, and I would just like to say, I actually was that the first movie that you made? That one that we shot in my dorm room?
Yeah. That was my first class project. And by the time that I played it in class, it just got real quiet. And people were like, "You want me to play my project after that?"
Oh, you didn't tell me that when we were in school. Okay. Well, good
Crazy.
to know that that went over well because I just want y'all to know I did my best. Okay, Academy Award
Yeah,
performance.
you did though. You know, it's crazy. That video is still on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm gonna have to go look at that. It's on your YouTube page.
it's on my YouTube page.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go look at that for sure. Um, so yeah, Pierre. First of all, thank you for your time today. I appreciate you for chatting with me, and hopefully, this is like the first of many interviews that you will do throughout your career and about Ricky. We're gonna cross fingers and toes and all that stuff. My hair is already curled up, so I think that's going some extra edit. Um, anyway, tell people. I guess we need to get a background because I know you, so got to pretend like everybody else doesn't, right? So, first of all, what made you want to pursue a film career? Like, what was it that said, "I want to be a filmmaker"? Is it a movie? Was it a star? Was it like what was it?
We well, when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of films like with my family, and just watching just the laughter or the entertainment that it brought the people around me. I was like, man, I think I want to do something like that. And so I actually started off wanting to be an actor.
Oh,
And I used to beg my parents to go to like acting classes. I would like write my own plays, and I would use my younger cousins like as they were like my guinea pigs. So like I would write different plays, and my family would like come to pay $1 to come see the plays. And my grandfather, he had all the like latest technology in that time. So he had this camcorder, and one day, I asked him could I use it, and like I just made like this little short horror movie with my cousins, and that's when I was like, wow, I think I really like, being behind the camera and like just kind of creating this world and like bringing everybody together. So every weekend, we would get together, and this is before I even knew like how to properly write a script. I was young. I was just, writing everybody's lines and the action. And like my cousin, she was my lead actress, and she would be like, my my lead girl that's always trying to escape whatever idea I came up with every weekend. So we would get together every weekend and make films. And by the time I got to Howard, that's where I really got a chance to like hone my skills and learn about the craft and really, get into it. And it's just something that since I was a kid, I've always wanted to do. And so I've been crazy enough to still chase after it all these years later.
And good thing that you didn't stop, because now, again, you have. So Ricky actually started as a short film, correct?
Right. Started as a short film.
And then you guys were able to transform it with the help of the Sundance Film Festival. And now you are moving your way to theater soon. So tell me a little bit. Let's talk about Ricky. Tell me, like how the story came to you.
So, Ricky, man, this Ricky's been with me for over 5 years now. It's so Rashad Fred, the director, I've known him for a while, and we uh, did a lot of projects together. And Ricky, the short, was his thesis at NYU for Tisch. And when he first came to me about the idea, we started talking about, all of the different people that we've known in our personal lives, like who's been through the prison system, and just like what their experiences were coming out and trying to reacclimate back into society. And, and so we just was like, we should, Ricky, like we saw Ricky and a lot of those people that we knew. And, when we did the short, we actually was supposed to shoot it um in 2020.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
so it's supposed to be a pandemic birth.
so 2 weeks from us shooting is when the world shut down.
Wow.
And so we ended up shooting the short maybe like a year later. And as we were, finished when we wrapped and we were kind of in post, we just started having a conversation of like maybe this is like a feature, And so he went with the co-writer of the feature, Lynn Q.A. Young, and they just started kind of like chipping away at this idea of like what a feature will look like, what will Ricky's World look like, and in that process, shout out to Sundance because we in the short ended up getting the Sundance, so like that's how we first got into like the Sundance ecosystem, which was like something we've always wanted to do. Like we tried to get in Sundance for many years, and maybe 10 years from almost the date that I first got just a rejection from Sundance, we ended up finding out that the short film had got in. And
Wait, so a rejection? How many times?
man, I've been rejected from Sundance maybe about 3 times.
Really? Same
Yeah,
story or
yeah.
different entries?
Just different entries, like just stuff that I worked on as a director, stuff that I worked on as a producer, and it was just no, and but just throughout the years we put our head down and just kept doing the work, kept making different projects, and and just we just felt like with this it was just something special. And we just gave it a try. We didn't know, and from there, not only did we get into Sundance for the short, but Rashad and Lin Q got into the fellowship for Sundance writers, right? So that was just like crazy. So it was just like, oh, okay, wow, like they really was digging the story as a feature. And just as time went on, we premiered at Sundance, and Rashad ended up getting signed to WME. Shout out to WME, and like they were, his agent was just Craig Costell was like, "Listen, we're gonna make this a feature." And, we've heard stuff like that for a long time, just these promises. I mean, it's just like, oh, okay. And throughout the process, we started to get people who were interested in the film, and Stilo Brim, who's one of our producing partners and investors on the film, he loved the story, and he was like, I want to do this with y'all." And for us, it was just like, what? Like this is like this is real. This is happening. And from there, just it took off. Like I ended up getting into the Sundance Producers Fellowship, the Producers Lab. He got into the Directors Lab, and like Sundance really was the engine behind just like helping us really just hone this project and get the story where it should be, and just prep us for making the film. And it's been a ride. It's been a ride. I gotta say, it's been a ride.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, without spilling too much about the entire movie, because we want people to go see it,
Right.
okay, in theaters, March, do you have a release date?
20th, March 20th.
March 20th, okay? Put it on
20th.
your calendars. Um, Give me a little bit, like, give me the synopsis, give me the
Yeah.
blurb about what the movie is about.
So Ricky is about a guy who was recently released after doing 15 years in prison, and we watched Ricky try to navigate life post incarceration, from reconnecting to his family to finding love for the first time, and really just take on what it is to be a responsible adult. And we kind of watch him navigate all of these different things and try to avoid going back to what he's used to.
Okay.
And it's just a powerful story, because even in the process of making this, we met with people that, like, I would have never thought had any type of connection to incarceration. you know
Really?
yeah, like meeting with people who were like, my son-in-law did time, or my family members, and just people you wouldn't think of who's affected by the legal system. And just, it goes deeper than what you think, you know what I mean? And like, and so for us, it resonated with so many people, because they saw their family, their loved ones, their friends in this character. And he really is truly somebody who you want to see win.
Right.
Even if he messes up, you want to see him get it together. And I think that's kind of at the heart of the film, is like second chances, and what you do with that, and taking accountability for your life.
I absolutely. I remember watching the film when it premiered at Sundance, and I was sitting in the theater, and there were so many times where I was like, "Damn it, Ricky!" Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
literally, like throwing your hands up, like, "Oh, no, no, he didn't," that type of thing.
yeah,
And Ricky is absolutely a character, like you said, like he's a character that you want to see win
yeah,
as the film continues. Um, So, okay, we know a little bit about the movie. You've kind of shouted out some of the people that worked on it. And also, the one other cool thing that I really loved about the film, in terms of like going back to talk about how you guys started as a short at Sundance and then were able to elaborate it into a full feature length, is that you all still used a lot of the original actors
yeah,
that appeared in the short.
yeah,
And so I love that you were able to literally bring everyone along with you for this ride, to
yeah,
go from, a thesis film to a short film Sundance entry to then a full feature length film, and now again to theaters. So shout outs to everybody that I met that weekend, all the actors that were in the movie.
yeah,
Um, I think it's just phenomenal. Like when you know that about the movie and the story, it
yeah,
just makes it even more like amazing for everybody to be involved with. Now, you've got some heavy hitters, because I have to say, when we were in college, there was one particular actress in the movie. We were in college, me and my roommate, since we both went to see it in Utah. We watched The Wood.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
felt like we watched that movie like every other day. And Big Mike from The Wood is
yeah,
in Ricky.
yeah.
Tell us some more about some of the A-list cast members that you all were able to get included in the project.
I gotta say, wow, the cast of this film, they were such a blessing. Like, everybody was so phenomenal on screen and off screen. We had the phenomenal Stefan that's in it, and you know, I've seen Stefan's work, and when he got the project, just listening to how he connected to. I mean, because I think as a filmmaker, that's one thing that's just important. Um, in this process is that your cast understands, they understand what you're trying to do, right? And so as I lead, it was just really important to find somebody who connected with the material, who can bring those nuances that we're looking for. And Stefan was amazing. We had the incomparable Cheryl Lee Ralph, which was that was like that was mind blowing. Just from following her career and just not thinking that you would ever work with these people, right? And so just
Right.
really quick, I just wanted to tell a quick story of how like her work ethic was just out of this world. Like she was in before she came to us, she was in Jamaica for her son's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a big hurricane that came through,
Oh yeah.
right? And so we were like one concern for her safety, but just like of course me as a producer, I'm preparing to like what
For the
we may
worst.
yeah, what we for the worst and what we may have to do. And it was crazy because like our hair and makeup team and wardrobe department, reached out to her because her team was like, just reach out to her. And she was in Jamaica in a hurricane, like sending screenshots of like I was thinking about this for my hair, I was thinking about this for what,
She
and
was
I'm
still
like,
working.
and I'm like, you in a hurricane thinking about us? Like what? And like and she came straight from Jamaica to us.
Oh wow.
Like and just killed it. Killed it.
She
Like,
absolutely did.
you know what I mean? Like I learned so much from her and um just even in just like regular talk, first of all, trying to like be professional and like not try to, 'cause, yeah, I mean I've worked
Starstruck.
right, like I've worked a lot of gigs and I met a lot of people, but it was just different because at this point, I'm the lead producer, so like I'm the person in charge. So I'm dealing directly with a lot of what's going on. So in my head, I'm like, she's talking to me, and I'm like, Pierre, don't freak out. Like, don't freak out. Like, y'all talking business, don't freak out. But it was just like treated me and everybody else with so much respect, took it seriously. Because, coming from somebody who, you know, self funded a lot of things and, doing a lot of run and gun stuff, you know, when you get into those spaces in your mind, you think like you hope that people are respecting what you're doing.
Right.
And so to have somebody like her and Stefan, like who, shout out to that brother. He worked every day. Like he was the lead and he worked every day and he brought in 150% every day because he respected the project and us. And like that was, our cast was just amazing, and uh working with Sean and like you said, like these are some people that you saw on the screen that like wow, like these people are working with me now,
Right.
but like it was great. We had such a great time.
Yeah, I love Shirley Ralph since 227. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, is that
yeah.
Barbara? That's
But
Barbara.
yeah, and just I just want to quickly shout out Malik Johnson, who was with us from the short. That's like a little brother to me. Like he just did a phenomenal job as Ricky's brother. And I want to shout out Andreen, who just killed it. And man, so many others. Like it was just seeing these people on set bring it to life. It was just like, wow, this is amazing.
This is amazing. So, okay, as the lead producer on this feature length film, tell people that like might be interested in getting into production or other people that might be watching that have aspirations to be producers or filmmakers, like um what are some of the responsibilities and duties? And then at some point I want to ask you about like some of the not necessarily hardships, but like some of the things that you learned like through the process. So first tell me a
Oh,
little bit about your I know you learned a lot. But first tell me about, tell me about your like responsibilities. Like what kind of things are the lead producer responsible for?
right. So, as lead producer, and every situation is different depending on like how many producers you have on the film and all that. But the overarching thing, as lead producer, you are essentially responsible for everything, right? So you're responsible for making sure that the entity for the film is set up correctly.
Your
Um,
business,
the
basically.
business as yeah. So if you have investors, if you have money that's coming through, you have to set up an entity. You have to set up a bank account, to receive those funds. I was responsible for overseeing the money that came through. So, in this instance, I had, was two of us that were lead producers. So I was a lead producer over production. So I was responsible for everything production related. So making sure um, contracts were in place, negotiating with the other producers, with cast, with vendors, with hiring crew, uh, locations, everything, everything. So like anything legally that needed to be signed, I was a signee for any deals with cast or anything that came in with funding, anything with then as we brought on other crew, like my right hand man, shout out to Jason Hightower, who's
Another
our
bison.
another Bison who's our line producer, co-producer. We work closely together to make sure everything was running how it was supposed to. Each day was running how it needed to. So I had to make sure, and even while we were filming, I was still, part of like negotiating cast deals and making sure that everything is laid out. So I worked a lot with cast. So I had to deal with agencies and lawyers and managers and agents. And so like I was deeply, heavily involved with like making sure everything was set for our cast. It's like, some people were on tight schedules. So we had to make sure like we were precise with everything we did, from traveling them in to their working days and to getting them out. Um, and so like that was, and even just overseeing casting and making sure all of the contracts are where they should be. And yeah, so like those were like the biggest things, and making sure just the day to day was running how it was supposed to, and making sure that everybody got paid on time.
And that's important. People want
Yeah.
That's important, okay? Because people want to make sure they get them checks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Because when from that to your department heads needing to spend money and asking for more and doing this and doing that, and need this and need that. So I was just the person that everybody needed for everything. Putting out fires and fires that was happening right there and stuff that was going to happen in a few days, and you know it was so yeah. So like that was essentially what my and also being involved with because I'm more so I take the holistic approach as a producer. So just being involved with story and script and making sure that we stay on track with story, and being that monitor, making sure like, oh hey, we can't say this, or we got to do a retake because that didn't get clear, and so
Because staying on track with the story and the script means you staying on track with the money.
that part, that part,
On
that
track
part,
with the money. So
you
I was
know.
right. When I started this, when I said the M stands for money, I was right. Because you are Pierre M. Coleman, the money man. That's exactly
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to be that one that's like, yeah, I know that y'all wanted to do this, but
that's not in the budget.
that's not in the budget. Or I gave you two options. You either gonna do this or you gonna do that. And since you did that, you can't do
We
this
can't do
anymore.
this.
Right, right, right.
Making
But
decisions.
right. But all and for me is always um it's not just about no, it's no, but let's figure out how we can
Right.
get the same effect. Um we can get the same effect even though we don't have the money to do that particular thing. How can we still stick to the story, stay true to the story, and save money? Because
Gotta learn how to pivot.
yeah, yeah. Because when that budget tight,
Pivot and improvise, right?
yeah,
Pivot and
yeah,
improvise.
yeah.
Okay, so my next line of questioning, now that we kind of understand what the role of a producer does on a feature-length film or movie, um, give me give me two things that you learned through the process that you would not have encountered otherwise.
Mm. I think one of the biggest things I learned, and they told us this when I was, at the producers lab in Sundance. Um, you the level in which you have to protect the film and protect yourself while
Okay.
making film, right? Because when I worked on a lot of different gigs and I did a lot of different things, but when the gig was over, I packed my stuff and kept it moving,
Right.
right? And so when you are the person that's in charge of all of this is something that when everybody pack up and go home, it's still going to be with you, right? So you're financially tied to this film, right? And so you have to do what you have to do to protect the film, but also protect yourself and while doing it because just use just any example. Like if you heard of just different things that have happened on set and mishaps that's happened on set and certain things, like when stuff like that go down, they looking at who the producer, who signed the insurance, who was the person that and so that reality of like, oh man, it's me. Like I can't, there's nobody else to look at. It's me.
Is you.
You know what I mean? And so I think it was in that process, it was having that realization and being firm about certain decisions I was making because I was doing it for the good of the film, but also making sure that I also was protected. And a lot of times, making projects and doing things like I repeatedly would sacrifice myself, and I learned like you can't do that. You
I'm
can't do
learning that too. You got to take care of you first.
yeah,
Some
right. You got to take care of you. Even just like for the longest, you know, it, it wasn't until I got to the lab where we was talking about just like having lawyers and blah blah blah, and I'm digging nothing of it, and they're like, "Oh no,
you
you
need
need
a
one.
lawyer.
You need one. Like the film need one. Like the film needs one. You have your production lawyer, but they're like, oh no, but you need one as the producer." And I'm like, oh, so that was the biggest thing of like learning the different ways of um making sure that I was good so I can continue to make sure that the film's good. So I think that was the biggest thing. And I think the other thing I learned was um I don't know if I can curse. Can I curse?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean,
Don't
I know we do, and but
good.
that's not. Let
Because in this sense, you know what it is? It don't be afraid to fuck up. Because
Okay.
I think I was so afraid because this is my first feature. This is my first feature as lead producer.
The next time,
Right.
just say mess up. Okay.
Okay, mess up.
Mess up.
Okay. I'll say it again just in case it get edited. Don't be afraid to mess up. Don't be afraid to mess up.
Just
Because
like we may have already, but whatever. We moving.
but because I got so deep in my head of being afraid of messing up that when I messed up, it was like it is what it is,
Right.
you know. But because it's so much pressure, because everybody is looking at you, like it's just a different thing when you're the person that's like responding to the emails, or you're the person who even like when we were doing cast deals and stuff like that. It's just different when you looking at the thread and like you're the one that's going back and forth with the lawyers and the agents and going, okay, great, we have a deal. And then doing that and then having to remember all of the stuff that you said while you dealing with the chaos of what's happening every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like and let me tell you, that's just a different kind of thing when you on set and you're dealing with stuff that you don't expect, but then gotta remember like, oh yeah, but we agreed to do blah 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 blah, and you gotta make sure you doing these things, because that's what you
That's what you said you was
said
gonna
you're
do.
gonna do, and so, but yeah,
Because
it's just
somebody will definitely come back and be like, "Oh, but I talked to Pierre, and he said,
yeah,
that blah 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 or X, Y, and Z." And for sure,
yeah,
you have to, obviously, when you're dealing with all of the different aspects of a film, you got to make those commitments and honor your word.
yeah, yeah. But like, don't be afraid to mess up, especially if you're working with people that you trust.
Okay.
If you're working with people that you trust and that got your back, don't be afraid to mess up
All
because it
right.
happens. I've seen it even in lower positions. I've seen it happen, but of course it's always different when it's not happening to you. You could be like, oh, well, it ain't my job. You know what I mean? But when it is your job, you like, oh,
Oh,
but yeah, I think those are the two biggest takeaways of doing this, because I got to tell you, this definitely was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But that just, I feel like that's, I mean, it was necessary though, because it's just kind of building the foundation for you
Yeah,
for the next project and the next project and the next project, right?
absolutely.
Because we don't know that we can do hard things until we've
Until
been
we do,
confronted with having to make it through, like, and doing all of the hard things.
yeah, and just like even in the process of making it, you know, I built up so much confidence in the process of it, because when you and a lot of indie filmmakers can relate, just having that imposter syndrome when you feel like, am I really supposed to be in this space? Am I really supposed, I'm on meetings with agencies and there's like 10 people on a call and I'm like kicking off the call and I'm just like, are these people even, or like feeling like I'm getting lost in what I'm saying, or like people are having conversations around you and you have to remind people like, that's great, y'all talking about all that, but like I'm the producer.
Okay.
Like I know the ins and outs of this. Like I know how this is supposed to go. I know like why we're shooting here, why we filming here, because we need this and we need that, and it's for this benefit. But you know what I mean? So like having that, building that confidence. And shout out again to like I just want to shout out Shira Rockowitz, who was my lab director at Sundance, and all of my great um advisors like Nina Bon Jovi, who really instilled in me like you have to be firm and when
Mm.
you speak, because you know this project better
Better
than they
than
do.
anybody, right?
You
All
know
the
it.
ins and outs.
And when I started to do that, I'm like, oh, they listening. Oh, okay, all right, they stop talking. Cause I'm like, okay, let me this is it. And so I would make sure I have like my bullet points in front of me, because we always did like phone calls. So I would always have like my note cards so I can just run it down before they can even like jump in to say anything, like this is how this conversation is gonna go. And
I
so
love it.
that, so it was, yeah, 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 yeah. So,
So, okay, I don't want to keep you too long, but I kind of do want to ask you maybe like two more things.
sure.
Um, so that we've already talked about Ricky. Um, I want the people to like know a little bit more about like your humble beginnings. So, give me like the last five projects that you worked on, or not even that. Give me the most five most memorable projects that you worked on before you got to Ricky, right?
Okay.
Because I feel like right now we're kind of like we up here on the mountaintop, right? Like we in the middle of the big hill, but
Right.
I know you was kind of like down at the end of the slope before. So give me give me the build up.
I think, well, first and foremost, I think one of the most memorable projects I've worked on, I was an office PA on the wire,
Yeah.
right? And even though I was low level, entry level, office PA, making copies, making phone calls, doing runs, but I gotta say that set the tone for how I knew I wanted like to do projects. because it
Okay.
was a family setting. They took me in. I got to shadow different directors and producers, and the cast embraced me, and like my family got to meet the cast, and the producers, really just took to, they knew I was an aspiring filmmaker, and they really like gave me so much advice and let me know like, okay, these people are high level people, but they're treating everybody with respect. And so I took that. That was the first project that I really got that great experience, and I kind of took that with me everywhere. So I was an office PA on the wire. I
I'm so glad you mentioned that first because I remember you told me that you were going to start as an office PA on the wire. I was like, what? I was like, HBO.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
right out the gate, HBO. And I honestly, I mean, I was just talking to somebody else about this the other day. I think The Wire is hands down one of
yeah,
the best television shows that was ever created. And I'm not just saying that because I'm from
yeah,
and live here in Maryland. I absolutely mean that. Like, just the depth of all of the seasons was
yeah,
phenomenal. The storytelling, the characters, everything was amazing. And now it's like all these years later, it's still a cult classic.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it was amazing even to be able to work on a show that I was like actively watching and like to see.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's like you don't want to see these things because you don't know what to expect. But like I did that loving the show even more because I'm like, yo, that everybody was so nice, and like I would talk to the cast. I had to like, FedEx their scripts to them and do things. So when they would come to film their episode, they'll be like, "Oh my God, Pierre," and come and hug me, and I'm like, "Are you excited to see me?" Like, okay,
Like, oh, thank you.
yeah. And so that was amazing, and just I wanted to say real quick,
Uh-huh.
but like
Take your time.
that experience stuck with me, and so and even when we did Ricky, uh, a lot of that I wanted to bring into what I did. And so like I made sure like I was adamant about doing certain things. Like we were up there during the summer. So um like we threw a barbecue for our cast and crew. Like we would have like themed Sunday dinners and just things. I know everybody, was in Hartford, Connecticut on location, and so I was just thinking of different ways to like, sometimes shoot, even though I was tired, I'll be in the lobby with the crew listening to New Edition, doing the dances from Can You Stay in the Rain,
Yeah.
just to keep everybody going, just to have
Keep
a good,
momentum and also like just keep everybody's spirits high.
yeah,
Because they're absolutely, and I think a lot of people don't realize that like the television programming that you watch, there are a lot of long, hard hours that go into it. I've never worked on, well, I've worked on a couple of film sets, but not to that degree. But I just know, like having worked in reality TV, when they say 12 hours, that's just like the base.
that's the
Like
minimum. That's the
that's the
minimum.
minimum. You are
That's
guaranteed to
right.
work 12 hours, but it could be
Right.
18.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, we had some hard days, and I'll never forget, when our PAs came to me and was like, "Man, like to see my boss look like me, and to see all of my bosses, even like when our investors and other producers came on set and was like to see all of these people who look like me and treat me the way you're treating me, like I'll never forget this. And like, I'm just like getting choked up on the inside because I'm like, man, this is so full circle for me because this is like, what somebody did for me. You know what I mean? And so, um, yeah, like the Wire will forever be like one of the most memorable things that I've done. And from doing that to I worked with this company called Driver Studios, and that was something that was different for me because it was online content. So we did like a lot of online content for kids. So we was doing like equestrian stuff, working with horses and doing like dance shows. But and shout out to Raquel because like it was something different for me. And I'm a film guy and I'm like, what? But I always feel like every different job that I've worked helped me as a filmmaker. And so I got to see a creative like her work in a space where she was on it. She knew it, like she knew all the beats of reality. She knew all the beats of like digital content, and like when we were doing like these dance numbers. Used to be called, oh man, I can't remember the name of the show. Dance Squad, Fox's Dance Squad. Like his name was Merrick Hannon, but like she knew how to just get involved in the creative, but also knew like walking through stage and everything and how she wanted stuff done. And it was just like, so I was learning from her in that different space. So that was like, then I got a chance to, direct a few things. And because I was a producer on it. So I worked on like writing scripts and the stories and stuff.
Hmm.
And so like that was a dope thing. And I want to shout out a project of my own that I kind of gave my love to, which is Jackson
Jackson
Lewis.
and Lewis.
Yeah, Jackson and Lewis, and don't be surprised if you see it, if you see it pop up
I
on,
was
on
gonna
the
say
TV somewhere.
it's 2026. It's time to put them things out there, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that was a labor of love and working with, Omar and Omar Scroggins and D Martin and Safia Grimsley, who was like my main cast, and who helped come up with the theme song and all that. Like it was just great having people on the ground work with you and do that. And Second District was another indie project that we did that was a cop drama that kind of had this nice little buzz. And yeah, like so from working industry stuff to doing indie stuff, I think it really just helped shape me as a filmmaker, and I'm just thankful for it all.
Cool. Okay, so I don't want to keep you too long because it is Sunday and we got to get some more fun day in here. Um,
Right, I know, and I'm running my
about
mouth.
almost 6:30. No, it's okay. I'm enjoying the conversation. I mean, we've had lengthy conversations about all of this stuff before, but I just, want to share as much as we can, but not take too much of your time today. Um, Talk to me about, or maybe not me, but as we close, give me some like advice that you would give to someone who is watching or listening that wants to be a filmmaker, wants to be a film producer, or has a project that they're currently working on, is
Mhm.
trying to figure out how to get it off the ground.
First piece of advice: don't do it. Run. No. No, seriously though. I think what's important is story, right? I think story comes first, and if you really truly believe in the story, you're gonna do, like, for me as a producer or as a director, it's your responsibility to know that story better than anybody else, right? And so, or even as a producer, know it just as much as anybody else, because you're part of the decision making on what needs to be done. So, uh, story first. I think that sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. I know, I mean, in my time, like there were times like when I did one of my first films, Hello, My Name is Trouble, I saved up my own money
Yes.
and pulled out all the money out of my account, cried in my car for a little bit, and we shot the film.
You
You
shot the
know,
film. Wait a minute. Don't just stop there. You shot that film and you also had your own premiere at a real legit movie theater. And I know this because I came to see Hello, My Name is Trouble. Okay. We were in New Jersey, whole setup, whole shebang. So I love the fact that you, like, again, you knew what you wanted to do and you
yeah,
really poured yourself into that project. And now look.
yeah, yeah. Look,
Now,
I'm thankful. I'm thankful for every step of the way. I think you have to, you gotta just keep going, and it sounds real simple, but uh, my two things I've been going by is keep going, and because you never know, because some of it is timing too, and I thank
yes.
God for that, because like I never expected Sundance when we got in for the short, and from there everything was happening so fast. It was like an out of body experience, and so we were putting in work. Like I said, I got rejected 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I still have an article from almost 10 years to the date when I people were still talking about their Sundance rejection stories. But like, my advice is if you have something that you truly believe in, put in the work. Keep going. Find out ways. If it's a feature and you don't have the money to do it, how can you do a shorter version of it or do some type of concept so you can show somebody that you can do it. Right. So for me, it's always been I can show you what I can do with a little bit so you can know that I can do what I can do with so much more.
That's right.
Right. And so if you aspiring to you want to write something, write it. And like there's so many hungry directors and producers, you know, film students out there who's in school who have the same drive as you. And one thing that benefited me was meeting people who was on my level, who where I was, who was just as hungry as me and wanted to make something. And with the access that we have with phones and you can edit within your phone now. There's just so many different more ways that you can access doing things. Just do it. Just do it and put it out there and keep going.
I think that's like the perfect way to end it. Although I feel like I could talk to you about so many other things, though. So many other things. But I
Um,
appreciate you for, first of all, let me say before we officially end, I appreciate you for indulging me today because there was a time where, well, shoot, I mean, I still don't know really what I'm doing, but here I am talking to you. But I mean, there were certainly times where I feel like along the process of it all, since we both had like similar majors in college and then kind of both kind of found our way in the industry, I just appreciate you so much for being that person that I could talk to, like when I was on set somewhere and I was
yeah,
having an issue,
yeah,
or even when I was in between gigs when I freelanced more previously, like being able to chat with somebody who kind of understood the industry, understood the kind of the hills and valleys that come with working and not working. Um,
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
and I just I want to thank you for being a huge
Uh,
support system for me because as I still don't know what I'm doing, you still said yes today to talk to me and to have this conversation. And I want you to know that anytime like anything is happening for Pierre Moneyman Coleman, the answer is always yes when it comes to me. So I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for being a friend. If I can be a golden girl today.
look, you already know, and thank you. You know what? And we're gonna end this. I'm gonna shout you out because another project that I worked on, y'all, because of Miss Trey Nice Bishop,
That's what
was
the
Real
people call me.
Housewives of Potomac. Let me tell you something. Talk about being in between jobs and in between gigs, didn't know what I was going to do. And Trinice called me and said, "Well, hey, I'm doing this reality show. You want to come be, a driver?"
I
Yeah.
needed I needed an office PA.
She like, I need an office PA, and I'm like, well, I need money. And so I came back from Jersey back down to the DC area, and I was in that van driving wherever she needed me to go. And just
So
when I thought it was gonna run out, she like, oh no, actually we're gonna extend you for a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I appreciate that.
so a little bit about that. I was a like production office coordinator. And I did locations for the Real Housewives of Potomac for like the first 2.5 ish seasons. And when we stopped like main production, we would do like some shows have what they call pickups, right? Which is like
Mhm.
extra content that the editors need in order to supplement the full length of the episode. So for Potomac, like they do sometimes do, maybe I'm telling too much right now, but whatever. They sometimes do interviews after they've already shot the main portion of the show. And so we were doing like pickup interviews, and pickup interviews involves like usually there's a location, you've got like hair and makeup for the day or days or whatever that you're shooting. But then it also has many trips to production storage, which people don't know about, right? So we had a storage facility where, at the time when we were doing those episodes, the interviews that you saw in their houses, we actually set up each item, okay, that was in the background for them to sit in front of to do their interviews in their house. It got more involved where production could do like a huge backdrop, and they would take a photo of their backdrop, and then they started using those as like scene backdrops that they can, easily change or move in and out. But when Pierre was helping me, we were setting up every piece of furniture,
Mhm.
every candle, every throw pillow, every chair, all of that stuff. Production would buy and then store it, right? Until they needed to do more interviews. So literally, I had called him to help me move.
Yeah, yeah,
And we were moving stuff from all of their houses back to the production storage
yeah,
unit.
yeah. And I'm like,
So
look, I need the money, whatever you need. Look, she hired me. Look, we've been having each other's back for so long.
I was like, thank you for getting lunch today.
Look, and I wasn't beneath any of that. I'm like, all right, I'm taking lunch orders. Like, Trinice, what you want? I'm going to get it,
Yeah.
and
So in
but
return of my rental cars, I appreciate you. That was a
yeah,
huge help.
look, it feels great to be here, and I know I've thanked you in private, but I'm gonna thank you in public just for
Oh,
supporting me for so many years. And even last year when we premiered at Sundance, you and Devin being there and like really having my friends there to see my blood, sweat, and tears literally on the screen and just being there in full support. And we know like it's crazy to get out to Sundance from expensive to the cold to all of that stuff. And like
the
you,
cold.
yeah.
I don't listen, I don't ever need to drive on another mountain
Oh,
for the rest
yeah.
of my years. Let me tell you, okay? Like, never need to drive another mountain. Next time we doing something, we need drivers because whole time
Yeah. It's
I'm
crazy.
trying not to look out the side like, oh, it just go all the way down. Ain't no guardrails or
To the
nothing like
ground. Yeah, ain't none. Ain't none. So to do all that just to see your friend, I really appreciate it because this is the stuff that keeps me going. So I thank you and
well,
appreciate.
thank you for having us, and thank you for that experience because Sundance was amazing. And the crazy part now is like, is this the last year that it's gonna be? Well, it should be happening soon, right? The next
Yeah,
2020 is happening
it's
soon.
happening soon. This is the last year that is going to be in Utah.
So thank you for allowing me to experience Park City before Sundance is
Oh
no
yeah, yeah, for
city.
sure,
So
for
we
sure.
got to do something really cool and really special together. And again, from classical mythology, me, you, and Devin,
Right.
all the way to the mountains of Park City, Utah, and your first feature film premiere. So
Look at that, y'all. Look
with
at
I
that.
couldn't miss it. I couldn't miss it. Had to be
Absolutely.
there. Thank you, friend. Um, hopefully we'll get to talk again maybe before or after the premiere. And
Yeah,
since
for
we're friends
sure.
or whatever, maybe you could slide me a ticket to a local. I mean, I've already seen the movie, but I will absolutely see it again. And I encourage anybody who's watched this live today to make sure that you check out Ricky. Again, the movie, Ricky the movie, which
The
is coming
movie
to select theaters in March of this year, March 2026. Look out for
March
it this
20th,
spring.
2026. And just to add a blurb, we're gonna
Yes,
put out more information because we're actually doing a pay it forward campaign for the
love
film.
it.
We decided to independently release it. And so we're using Kickstarter as a platform to uh you can go up there and you can get tickets ahead of time so you can pay it forward to somebody else also who want to see the film. And so I'll have
But
that information in my bio, um, and my IG page, which is Pierre M. Coleman.
that's right. Tell people where you
Yeah,
can find you. Okay. Well, Kickstarter program. Look out for Ricky the movie. Also follow that account on Instagram. And be sure to look for more information about this film and my friend, Pierre M. Coleman. Thank you, friend. I'll talk to you
all right.
soon.